Elon, I would love to take you up on your offer for that thing that you said that you don't believe that the world could be fed off of $6 billion. If you would sign over Tesla stock if you could. I'll make you a wager. Take $100 million and build a machine that maintains machines. Take another $100 million and build another machine that plants crops and maintains them and grows them and cultivates them. Take another machine that transport it for another $100 million for distribution purposes. Build a giant facility for $100 million also. So now we're at $400 million. And you have a giant facility and robots that are planting and cultivating crops. Take another $100 million and get a solar, wind, or geothermal or another completely green source of power so you don't have to use reliance on fossil fuels or the energy grid, which costs more money. The machines can be built from ABS plastics and different polymers using 3D printers and metal printing techniques if you really need the metal. I recommend that you use polymers because the pieces that are from different machines that might break down and degrade can be melted and reused. So essentially, once the system is built, it's self-sustaining. Also, you need a crew to maintain the machines too, so people are not going to be out of work. But we don't want people doing all of the work because the production of the machines is where this is the game changer. You say that the world can't be fixed for $6 billion, and your estimate is actually incorrect. That's not the quote from the scientist for $6 billion that the world can stop world hunger. It's a little bit more than that. But we're going to go ahead and go with $6 billion just for the point. So we have $6 billion to play with, and we just spent about $700 million, which leaves us with, $5 billion, $300 million, and some change. So, but now we have a facility and it's powered by solar panels and do different geothermal heating options, and, no coal, just wind, fire, and ice like an avatar system. So, now you have a plant that's, you could even go nuclear if this was big enough, which I wouldn't recommend it because I have another invention that I'm trying to get to you privately about that I need you to bring into fruition in the country. But people are basically trying to stop me from becoming known, and they're trying to stop me from getting out there. But I have to get it out there, and we'll get into that later. And now we're in $700 million territory, right? So let's make it another 800 rim structure. Now the machines, there's this power grid around the area, and there's this giant facility about 4, 5, 6 miles wide. And these machines are all along the walls. There's charging stations for the machines. They're on set timers. When they're about to deplete, they charge themselves up. And they're also on a set timer for maintenance. Each of these parts have to be maintained, so at a certain time, each machine is scheduled to be maintained by another machine. And those machines that maintain the machines, those are the only ones that are maintained by people. So we can have about probably 9 or 10 sets of different types of machines, or however many we want, and there's only one machine that we as humans actually have to fix. As long as these machines are running, the other machines will keep running. So that lessens the need for people and more money for production. Now, once everything is produced, there's no power bill. The ABS is printing the machines, and the machines are fixing the machines. So, and we're only about $1 billion into this project. Now the first year goes by, and it feeds the entire city of Manhattan with 4 or 5 of these plants. They're 6 miles wide, so we got about 60 miles of just solid produce being made. And it probably cost us just about nothing to do it. So no, I don't believe you. And I challenge you, if you give me the money, I will do it. And at this point, when I'm saying this, and I basically spelled it out for you, which that's what you wanted, bait and switch, didn't really work, because I'm just going to use you to get it done, because you're robbing people of their opportunities for them to do it, because you're stepping on them trying to hold them down, because you're a greedy man. Well aware of it, man. well aware of it. And I'm not talking about you, Mr. Musk. I'm talking about other people beside you, basically. But just so you know, you are my very, very, very favorite philanthropist and billionaire. That's the only reason I'm making this video, is because of you and for you, to basically answer your question that yes, we can do this, and we can do it quite well. As far as your space dilemma, you need to stop trying to send rockets up into space. Okay? What you need to do, you know why I'm telling you this, what you need to do is you need to find an active volcano and stick a giant rod in it and start making energy off of it and electrolyze. Basically, make a slow-moving railgun. The railgun only disintegrates because it's at such high velocities and high temperatures. It can still do its function if you were to build it high enough. The only thing is it must reach a velocity to leave the atmosphere at the end of the track, but the track's not going to be able to get too high because of obvious issues of structural integrity and things of that nature. You wouldn't want to build it too high, but it's going to have to be pretty damn high. So if you can match that with the escape velocity needed to leave the atmosphere, and you can get that without harming human beings, especially on the launch, and then have just one break. It's just got a break, and it's just basically looks like a seed. It looks like a giant walnut seed being launched out of a rail. And the seed's got a parachute built on it for re-entry, and it's also got thermal thrusters, and it's got water. The water is super important. You shouldn't be using compressed air. You should be putting water vapor inside of containers that heat up into black containers outside of the sun to create pressure. And that pressure can be stored and released, and all you need is water. Water makes a shitload of pressure. But it's only because really the air and its expansion, and we're not going to get into that. But for thrusters and movers, that's what you guys need to be doing, not compressed air, because when that runs out, it runs out, and you're out of options. But if you use the water and you had about 20-30 gallons of water, you just hydrate a few drops, so that expands a lot. That's enough to move the ship with a drop of water. Let's be smart about this. So that would be used once you got off of the rail and it's ejected. You're going to fall, you're going to get up, and then you're going to fall, and you're going to meet that curve, and you're going to be outside of space in the orbit already. You want to make that speed match the orbit, the speed necessary to maintain an orbit speed. That's what you want your speed to be, quite a bit greater at the moment of the launch. Once the speed's great enough, it's going to fall, but it's going to fall into orbit. At that point, the boosters come on, and you stabilize, and you maintain the orbit. That's one option. There's much more options. There's a lot more options than just exploding something out of the back of a tube. Like, that is so crude, and to sit there and think that you were smart because you figured out how to basically eject things in a pressurized manner that makes enough thrust to leave an atmosphere, that's pretty stupid. Think about it. You're making a giant whoopee cushion and you're blowing it up and letting it go, or a balloon. That's